Jackson had been warned about first contact protocols. He'd studied them for months during the journey to Kepler 442b, but nothing in the manual prepared him for this moment. Standing in the middle of a crystalline plaza, surrounded by 24 Velian women whose luminescent skin pulsed with colors he had no names for. "Stay calm," he muttered to himself, hands raised in what he hoped was a universal gesture of peace. The Velians weren't threatening. If anything, they seemed utterly fascinated. They circled him slowly, their large iridescent eyes studying every detail of his form. One of them, taller than the rest with silver markings along her temples, reached out a four-fingered hand, stopping just inches from his face. "Don't touch the human!" Anna's voice crackled through his comm unit. She was back at the shuttle, monitoring everything through his helmet camera. "Jackson, I'm reading elevated bioelectric fields around you. They're communicating somehow." "Yeah, I can feel it," Jackson replied, his voice steady despite his racing heart. The air around him hummed with energy, like standing too close to high-voltage lines. "It's not hostile. It's curious." The tall Valian tilted her head, and suddenly Jackson felt something brush against his thoughts. Not words exactly, but impressions, questions, wonder. She was trying to understand what he was. "Anna, they're telepathic," he said, "or something close to it. That's not in any of the probe data." Anna's frustration bled through the comm. "Jackson, without proper protocols." "The protocols assumed we'd have time to observe from orbit," Jackson interrupted gently. "We crashed. They found me. This is happening whether we're ready or not." The Valian woman made a sound like wind chimes, and the others responded in kind. More gathered around, at least 40 now, emerging from the organic-looking structures that dotted the city. They wore flowing garments that seemed to shift with their emotions, colors bleeding across the fabric like living watercolors. One of the younger ones, her skin flickering between blue and violet, stepped forward and touched Jackson's arm. She jerked back immediately, chittering to the others in alarm and excitement. "What happened?" Anna demanded. "She felt my body temperature," Jackson said, watching the young Velian gesture animatedly to her companions. "I think we're significantly warmer than they are." The tall one, clearly their leader or scholar, made a decision. She gestured toward Jackson, then toward a building that rose like a frozen wave at the plaza's edge. The meaning was clear. "Follow me." "Jackson, no," Anna said immediately. "You don't know what—" "I know that we need allies if we're going to repair the shuttle and get off this planet," Jackson cut in. "And I know that running or refusing will make us look like threats." He paused, then added more softly, "Trust me, Anna. I can feel their intentions. They're not dangerous. You've been here for 20 minutes. You can't possibly—" "Anna." His voice was firm but kind. "We're doing this. Monitor from the shuttle. If I'm not back in 2 hours, implement Protocol 7. He followed the Valians into the building, and the interior took his breath away. The walls were alive with bioluminescence, showing what appeared to be star charts and biological diagrams. But it was the center of the room that made him stop. In his tracks, a holographic display showing Earth alongside anatomical scans of human physiology. "You knew," Jackson whispered. "You knew humans existed." The tall Valian gestured to the display, and images flickered past. Probe data, intercepted radio signals from Earth, even grainy footage from old Voyager transmissions. The Valians had been watching humanity for decades, studying them from afar, but they'd never seen one in person. Until now. The scholar approached him again, this time more boldly. She reached out and touched his face, her cool fingers tracing his jaw, his eyebrows, the bridge of his nose. Other Valians crowded closer, their fear giving way to scientific fascination. They examined his hands, amazed by his 5 fingers. They marveled at his hair, running their hands through it with sounds of delight. One even attempted to count his teeth when he smiled nervously. "Jackson, your vitals are spiking," Anna warned. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," he said, though his heart was pounding. "They're just very thorough." The scholar pulled out what looked like a tablet made of liquid light and began taking readings. Jackson felt warm pulses of energy wash over him, some kind of scanning technology. The Valians chittered and sang to each other, sharing data, debating observations. Then the scholar did something that changed everything. She placed her hand over Jackson's heart and closed her eyes. He felt that telepathic touch again, but stronger, more intentional. And suddenly he understood. She was showing him something. Images flooded his mind. The Valians had been alone in this sector of space for millennia, the only intelligent species they'd encountered. They'd developed incredible technology, extended their lifespans, achieved harmony with their world, but they'd also stagnated. No challenges, no new perspectives, no growth. Then they'd detected human signals, chaotic, violent, beautiful, creative, self-destructive, and impossibly resilient. They'd watched humanity claw its way from caves to spacecraft in an evolutionary eye blink. They'd seen humans wage wars and make peace, destroy and create, fall and rise again and again. Humanity fascinated them because humans were everything the Valians were not: passionate, volatile, adaptive, and indomitable. The scholar pulled her hand away, and Jackson staggered slightly. The other Valians caught him, steadying him with gentle hands. "They've been waiting," Jackson said into the calm, his voice thick with emotion. "Anna, they've been waiting for us to reach them. They want to learn from us." "Learn what?" Anna asked skeptically. "How to blow things up, how to fight each other." "No," Jackson said, looking around at the alien faces watching him with such hope. "How to be human, how to feel things so deeply that it hurts, how to keep going when everything says you should quit, how to look at the impossible and say, 'Not today.'" The scholar made that wind chime sound again, and this time Jackson understood. It was laughter. "Jackson," Anna's voice was softer now, "I'm coming to you. I need to see this." "Copy that," Jackson replied, grinning as the young blue-skinned Valian tentatively touched his hair again, delighting in its texture. "Just be prepared. They're very hands-on researchers." As more Valians gathered to meet the first human they'd ever seen, Jackson realized that first contact wasn't about protocols or procedures. It was about connection, about two species looking at each other and seeing not aliens but possibilities. And in that moment, surrounded by curious alien women who saw humanity not as a threat but as a miracle, Jackson understood what made humans special. It wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their ability to inspire hope, even in beings who'd forgotten what hope felt like. That was humanity's real superpower, and Jackson was just beginning to share it.